Hello from Columbus, Ohio. I'm Scott Foltz alongside Jason Dye. Those stories plus, you'll be seeing Orange in the ACC and the Ducks host UCLA out west.
Plus, the Buckeyes are back from their bye week here in Columbus. All that coming up after this. You're watching Sports Talk on CFC, so stick around.
Starting off this week in our home conference, there were three. There are now only two unbeaten Big Ten teams. Michigan hosted Penn State in a one-sided affair that saw the Wolverines draw first blood, but not by touchdowns. Their six first-quarter points coming off a 29-yard and 24-yard field goal while holding the Nittany Lions scoreless for the quarter. The home team continued chomping away with their first touchdown roughly 6.5 minutes into the second from the 1-foot line, but Penn State responded in kind with six of their own from the 1-foot line on 4th and goal just 2 minutes later. A Penn State interception turned into a 48-yard pick six to put the Nittany Lions up by one for their first lead of the game. A lead they would hold until the 6-second mark when Michigan booted another one in from 23 yards to go into halftime with a 16-14 lead, and it looked like we might have a ball game here. Penn State retook the lead with a 27-yard kick to make it 17-16 early in the third. That would be Penn State's final lead of the game as Michigan just ran over the Nittany Lion defense. A 67-yard run put the Wolverines ahead by six and a two-point conversion just to add insult to injury, 24-17. Another big run, this time from 61 yards, added seven more for Michigan. Fourth quarter, the Wolverines kicked for three more, this time from 37 yards, and it just barely went in to lengthen their lead to 34-17. They didn't stop there as a 3-yard run added another seven, and those were the last points of the game, 41-17, Penn State falling apart in the second half.
Yeah, and it was just an absolute debacle for Penn State. James Franklin, I called it during the game. Couple questionable fourth down calls there where Penn State had momentum, and I just really think those fourth down calls really just took the momentum away from themselves. And hats off to Michigan. They've got a heck of a running attack, and obviously J.J. McCarthy wasn't exactly the best in this game, but I really think the momentum shift, Penn State just giving it away with those fourth down calls really sealed the deal for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah. Big 12 action with one of the best games so far this season when TCU hosted Oklahoma State. The Cowboys took an early lead with a 29-yard quarterback keeper on 2nd and 19, just 4.5 minutes into the game. They do it again with 4.5 remaining in the first to go up 14-0. TCU launched one from Oklahoma State's 49, caught and downed at the 1-yard line. That set up a 1-yard quarterback keeper to put the Horned Frogs on the board and end the first quarter. Second quarter opened with a 35-yard boot by Oklahoma State, followed by a 22-yard touchdown catch on 3rd and 13. TCU responded with a 48-yard field goal on 4th and 9 and a 35-yarder on 4th and 2, 7 seconds remaining to end the half 24-13. The Cowboys opened the third quarter, kicking in three more from 34 yards out, followed by TCU kicking three of their own, also from 34 yards. A minute 30 left in the third, and would you believe, another field goal. This one by Oklahoma State from 32 to put the Cowboys up 30-16 with 1 quarter left to play. But a lot can happen in 1 quarter. A 3-yard rush by TCU gave the Horned Frogs the first touchdown since the second quarter. Third quarter points were all field goals by both teams. TCU within 7 with 9:22 left to play, so they're still in it. 2 minutes remaining, a 10-yard pass off a trick play tied it up at 30, and this one is going into overtime. 25-yard pass on 2nd and 10 put TCU up by 7, but the Cowboys responded with 7 of their own off a 1-yard run that barely got in, and we're going to 2 overtimes. I know you'll be shocked by this, but from 52 yards on 4th and 20, the Cowboys add 3. A 2-yard rush by TCU, and this one is over. 43-40. TCU remains unbeaten in one of the best games all season, and one where both kickers earn their pay, so to speak.
Yeah, and this was a great back and forth game. And, I don't even know what to say about the Big 12 anymore. Right when you think there's one team that's going to emerge up, somebody else beats somebody else.
Yep.
And it's just, Big 12 is wild right now. And it's really good for the conference, to be honest. I mean, that was an excellent ball game.
It was. And did you notice? All 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, quarterback keepers.
Yeah, do you imagine that?
Every one of them. For 105 years, the third Saturday in October has meant one thing: Tennessee versus Alabama. The longest win streak is owned by Alabama, 15 games beginning in 2007. This one started off early and hot. The Volunteers punched in their first touchdown from the 1-foot line just 5 minutes into the game, but the Tide responded with a touchdown of their own off an 8-yard run just a few minutes later. The Vols retook the lead with a 36-yard touchdown pass and then added to it later on 3rd and 2 from the Alabama 11 to go up 21-7. Alabama marched it down the field to end the first, and it looked like they might find the end zone early in the second, but the Tennessee defense held, and the Tide had to settle for 3. A 2-yard run by the Tennessee fullback, and the Vols were up 28-10 early in the second. Alabama wasn't just going to go away, though. A 7-yard reception gave them 7 more. They would add 3 to that off a 43-yard field goal to go into halftime, trailing Tennessee 28-20. The Volunteers got the ball to start the second half, but the Alabama defense was able to hold them off and get their own offense on the field, and they wasted no time scoring with a 26-yard touchdown run, followed by a 2-point conversion, and Tennessee's 28-10 lead evaporated just like that. Tie game 4 minutes into the third quarter. That lasted all of 53 seconds as Tennessee threw a big 40-yard touchdown pass to retake a 34-28 lead, the extra point wide left. A 2-yard rush followed by a good extra point gave the Tide their first lead of the game with 4:27 left in the third. For Alabama to not take the lead until the third quarter, unheard of. A 32-yard pass turned into a 78-yard touchdown to put the Vols back on top less than a minute into the fourth quarter. Successful 2-point conversion gave them back their missed extra point from earlier, 42-35 Tennessee. A 1-yard pass from Alabama tied it again at 42. Tennessee, on their own 17, fumbled the handoff, and a scoop and score put the Tide up for the second time this game, 49-42, with 7:49 remaining. A lot can happen in 7:49, and a lot did happen. 1st and 10 from the 13, and a bullet pass by the Vols tied it up at 49 with 3:26 to go. Alabama marched it down to the Tennessee 32 and could not gain another inch. 4th and 10, 21 seconds left. A 50-yard kick went wide right. Tie game, 15 seconds remaining. Tennessee ball on their own 32, 2 timeouts. An 18-yard pass put them at midfield with 9 seconds and 1 timeout left. 27-yard pass and their last timeout set up a 40-yard field goal attempt with 2 seconds left. The ball is snapped, the kick is up, and it's good. 52-49, Tennessee ends a 15-year drought against Alabama, and they were going crazy in Rocky Top.
I think this is probably one of the best games I've seen in the SEC in years, and it's just, the energy being at Rocky Top, you could see it, the fans, everybody was engaged, and, for once, it was just nice to see Nick Saban did not have that finisher.
Yep.
Where he's like, oh boy, and when I was sitting there watching that kick, I'm sitting there like, just please, please, please. And when I saw it going up, I had turned away with my arms up in the air. It's good. 15-year-old drought over. Congratulations, Tennessee.
Yeah, the fans stormed the field, tore down the goalposts. They were loving it.
I'm surprised the stadium was still standing by the time it left, but it was a beautiful thing to see. Great for college football, one of the greatest games of the year.
Mm-hmm. Turning now to this week's action, the Orangemen will travel south to take on Clemson in a battle between 2 unbeatens in the ACC. Clemson knocked off FSU last week, while Syracuse took down NC State, a team that beat Florida State 2 weeks ago. I think this will be a close one. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a close one, too. Honestly, this year, the Syracuse defense has been absolutely fantastic, and to pair it up with an offense that's balanced with more of a passing game this season than they had in years past, and being able to adapt has been huge for Syracuse this year. They've seemed to find ways to win games. It's been a beautiful thing to see. And it's a huge reason why they're 6-0. Mm-hmm. Syracuse leads the ACC in total defense, Clemson might play great ball, but it's only faced one team at Ramwell, FSU. Sean Tucker's number will be called on this week. I think you're going to see a lot of him. Now, Clemson hasn't faced a slew of killers on the ground so far, but Syracuse really hasn't had to deal with anyone pounding away. The defensive front has been great, and Clemson is going to tear off 200 yards. Isn't going to tear off 200 yards, but averaging 5 yards a carry, like Virginia did, should get the job done. Clemson continues to be challenged, yet it continues to come through, and the running game has been great. DJ's playing great. Dabo seems to have everything put together. DJ's thrown 12 touchdown passes in the last 4 games. That's pretty good. And should be able to click enough. Here to put it away.
Just to take it, just to go all day with it.
Yep, to go all day. Syracuse will hang around in this one, keep it in range, but this Clemson defense, honestly, will hold firm in the fourth. And I do like Clemson in this game, 30-17.
Out west now, Oregon has had quite the resurgence since their Week 1 beatdown from the defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs. They haven't lost a game since, but they've only faced one other really tough team in BYU. UCLA is currently undefeated, but they've also only faced one tough team, Utah. Do the Bruins add to their streak, or will the Ducks continue their climb back up the rankings?
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, the UCLA ground game is good enough to beat this Oregon defensive front. And with that, they have the league's best passing attack along with the league's best defense. They're tough. UCLA is for real. Oregon has found its offensive groove, though, since that Week 1 debacle against Georgia. Oregon will be featuring 2 sophomores in the backfield at running back, and with the help of Bo Nix, the Auburn transfer. It's been really interesting to see him go into this Oregon system. Where, Oregon Pac-12 teams usually play like speedball, where the SEC gets more ground and pound, slow, methodical. But hey, he's making it work. And it's the likes of what UCLA has seen yet, so it's going to be a good one. This will be a blast back and forth game. I think you're going to see a lot of just back and forth, punching each other in the mouth all day long. But I think at the end, the Ducks defense is going to be key to this game, and they get the final laugh. I like Oregon 38-34.
All right, close one. Our game of the week, to no surprise, is the Big Ten battle between the Buckeyes and the Hawkeyes. Ohio State is currently undefeated and coming off a bye week, but they have yet to play their 3 toughest opponents, Penn State, Michigan State, and the biggest rivalry in all of sports. Iowa is 3-3 for the year and not looking their best so far, but the Hawkeyes are still a tough squad and have a way of ruining Buckeye seasons. Will that happen here, or will the Buckeye train keep rolling on?
Well, Iowa has a problem. Now, Iowa's had a great defense this year, one of the top in the country, but they got a big problem. Jackson Smith-Njigba is back for this game. He may not be 100%, but at this point, Jackson Smith-Njigba is on the field. That spells nightmares, because now, on top of that, you've got the running back tandem of Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams, 2 guys that know how to run the ball. They're going to be in the same backfield. That's scary. And as amazing as the Ohio State offense is, with or without all the skill parts, the Iowa defense knows how to grind games down. That's going to be the key. Keep Iowa's prayer. Keep that Ohio State offense off the field, and it's going to be something to see there, because I just really think it's still going to be lightning strikes from Ohio State. And how do you slow them down? Who do you guard? And you can't double team everybody on this offense. It's impossible. Except for, the Iowa defense was able to keep Michigan to 327 yards and didn't buckle until late. It hasn't given up a rushing touchdown to anyone but the Wolverines. It's allowed just 3 touchdown passes so far, forced 3 takeaways, and in 3 separate games. But 5 of the top 7 teams in the country in total defense are in the Big Ten. 4 of them have yet to play Ohio State, and Ohio State is 5th. Great turnaround this year for the Ohio State defense. Especially against a lackluster Iowa offense, where Jim Knowles has been able to find weaknesses in these offenses and exploit them. And it's been great to see this change in the defense for Ohio State. Tommy Eichenberg, Lathan Ransom, these guys are playing ball. Michael Hall, he's playing ball. It's great. I mean, but Iowa's got some big boys up front to protect their quarterback. But we're gonna find out about that Saturday. The amazing Buckeye offense gets the headlines, though, but the key to 22, like I said, is the defense that has appeared to be just made great strides this year from 2021. It was Swiss cheese last year, not Swiss cheese this year. A lot more solid. They're top 5. It's great right now. Now, like I said before, the rest of Buckeye offense will score on their first 2 drives. Iowa's defense will clamp down and keep us getting too far out of hand. It won't matter. Not. No, I don't believe that. I think Ohio State finds a way to score early and often. I love Ohio State in this game, 45-10.
That big a margin.
Yes.
Wow. On to the top 5. Take us through that and provide your expert analysis, if you would.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you got Georgia. You know, did Georgia play this week?
I don't believe that.
No, I don't think I do. Well, anyway, Georgia deserving of the number 1, and as far as I'm concerned,
defending national champions.
Number 2, obviously Ohio State, getting up there and staying up there after a bye week, which was good to see because I was kind of worried there when they went in the top 5 and we saw them rankings come out. After Tennessee beat Alabama, I mean, that's a big time win, and it is bigger than anything Ohio State's had this year so far. I mean, would I have been mad? No, I wouldn't have. I would have Tennessee number 2. Yeah, I could have seen that, but it is what it is. Followed by Michigan, who plays Michigan State this year or Saturday. Rivalry game. Still think Michigan just wipes the floor of Michigan State. Could be wrong. You know. And then to finish out the top 5, Clemson.
All right. And that's going to do it for us this week. If you're headed out to the stadium for the big game, please remember to take your car. You've been watching Sports Talk on CFC. We'll see you next time.